Hi, so today I want to talk to you about this book. It's The Conscious Parent's Guide to Gender Identity by Darlene Tando. And I want to real quick talk to you why I think you need this book on your bookshelf. So, when I first started reading this book, I wasn't sure it was the right book for me because at the start of the book, she talks a lot about what she calls, hold on, I want to get this correct, conscious parenting, and what that looks like, and allowing your child to really tell you what gender means for them, and allowing them to live in a way that doesn't constrict or confine them to like gender boxes. That's a better way to put it. And so I was like, well, I've already raised my children. They're in their mid to late 20s. So if that was what the whole book was going to be about, I was like, well, all right, that this doesn't really apply to me. But I was committed to reading it because I want to have more book reviews of books about raising transgender children on my website instead of just necessarily books about what it means to be transgender, or like I have a bunch of kids books up there right now. So I was going to read it anyways. And after I got through the start of the book, what I realized is this is an excellent reference book if you are the parent of a transgender or gender exploring child. She has a better word for it. I just can't right off the top of my head think of it at the moment. Because what it does is it gets into all of the topics that you would want to read about if your child was transgender or gender non-conforming or gender fluid or gender expressive. I think that's the term she used, gender expressive. And it answers any question that you could possibly think of, and maybe questions that you didn't even know you have. So she covers topics like parenting, and she covers topics such as how to deal with people in your life who ask difficult questions. She talks about how to deal with the school. Like, so if your child's still in school, like how do you deal with school and all those things, all the things that come up with the school. She covers holidays. She talks about transition, all the different kinds of transitions there are for transgender children, social transition, medical transition, all those types of things. She gets into caring for yourself as a parent so that then you can care for your child. That's something that I talk about here like a lot because it's something that I heavily believe in. Supporting yourself so that you can support your child. That's like my big mission. There's like a bunch of chapters that apply heavily to you as the parent in this book. Self-care for yourself, questions that you might have that you need answers to, handling your emotions. There's a whole chapter about that, what you're feeling and how to handle those feelings and emotions. So it's not necessarily just about conscious parenting, which is how the book starts out a little bit. And then there's like a whole section in here too about gender, and it's like a gender 101 primer. And if you are where I started out at the beginning of my journey, like what's the difference between gender and sexuality, which, I mean, I didn't know that. When my son Leo came out as being transgender, that was the thing that I didn't know. There's like a whole section and a whole chapter about that too. It breaks it all down for you so that you can understand the difference between gender and sexuality and gender identity and gender expression and all those things so that you can have a good understanding of what it means for your child to be transgender so that you can best support them. So if you haven't read this book yet, you can see I have like all kinds of like flags in here. This is the book that I have most marked up and flagged of all the books that I have read so far about parenting a transgender child. I would highly recommend this book. And I know that I've recommended a few others. If you haven't checked out my recommendations, I have a book review section on my website. If you haven't been to my website yet, you can go to the link in my bio. There's a link that will take you right to my website. Right at the top, there's a tab that says book reviews, and you can just scroll down and see all the books that I've reviewed already. The most recent ones are books specifically for parents, and I would put this right in the top 3 books that I have read for parents specifically. So definitely check this out. It's 15 chapters long. It's almost 3. That's not right. It's about 230 pages, but the last like 25, 30 pages are like an appendix and an index. And even the appendix is great. There's like a letter that you can use to model a letter that you would want to send out to like your friends and family, letting them know that your child is transgender. If you're wondering like, how do I let my people know that my kid is transgender? There's a letter in here that you can use to help you do that. There's also a, she calls it a transition worksheet. And what it is, it's like a, I can't think of the name, right? Like a Mad Lib, but it's like a fill in the blank. And what it does is it helps you work through, like, someone I know is changing. That's what it says. And then you fill in, like, their new name and their new pronouns. And so you're working through, like, this fill in the blank, and it's helping you to practice using names and pronouns in ways that you would be using somebody's new information so that you can practice writing it. And then you could practice saying it out loud. So that's a really great tool to have for someone who's got somebody new in their life who's transgender, and you're working on practicing new names and new pronouns and new ways of talking about somebody in your life. Because at the start, it's really kind of awkward and you're not sure, like, how do I do that? So you can fill in the information, and then you can fill it out, and then you can actually use that if you have like a child or somebody in your life. You could use that worksheet to help them work through the changes that are happening with somebody that they know, because it's like and then they fill in my brother, my friend, my aunt, my whoever the person is changing. They were born a boy, a girl, and they are changing into a boy or a girl. And so like it helps process that information in a way that even like a 5-year-old can understand it, and then it gives the tools to be able to understand and have language that is accessible and understandable. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that book really quick. I did do a really quick review of it down in my feed. It's not a superb review of it by any means, but I just wanted to put something out there for people who are scrolling through to have a look at it, and I do have a more involved review of it on my website, but I just wanted to come on here with my out loud words and talk about it a little bit, because I know everybody likes to hear about things in a different way. So I have talked about it far too long now. Like we're going on almost 10 minutes, so I'm gonna shut up and let you go, but I just wanted to come on here and tell you about that book. So yeah, 2 thumbs up, highly recommend it. I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.